Hey folks, and welcome back to the channel. HappyCattyCrypto here. So I am currently away taking a break, just focusing really on real world things, but I thought this video was really important. It needed to get put up for people to better understand what's going on with Mobile Station, the usual bad actors that are always doing the same thing that they always do without fail, and really just covering the ins and outs and my perspective of things, how I'm seeing them. So the first thing you're going to see from the same people, the usual people, is, oh, the L1's centralizing power. They're such a bundle of sticks. Oh, the power's going to the L1. This is legit all they've got to go off of now. It's just poor targeting and it's really poorly thought out, and they're banking on more or less the people to just not question it, not actually look into it, and just simply accept this to be centralization of power, which is absolute horse. Because ultimately what happens is, regardless of what is put up, what's proposed, no matter how hard somebody wants it to pass, it always comes down to governance. It always comes down to the vote. We vote on consensus across the community and validators. No one can ever centralize the power to vote unless they hold a very, very vast amount of coins and they're a bad actor. So ultimately, nothing is being centralized because you get the governance to spit it out. And as to which the governance spits it out, anything in the future is then controlled via voting power. I think that pretty much explains it for itself, what it is, and that this is not centralizing power. Ultimately, the L1 are always going to be the point of call to create anything, because guess what? We're paying them. This is what their job is. It's crazy, right? So you're always going to see the same bad actors comment on this first saying, oh, you know, it's centralization of power. It's not. Everything comes down to vote. Everything is voted for, voted through fairly, securely, and exactly how it's supposed to go down. So these whole kind of, you know, bad actors, Rabbi, all of these people doing the same thing over and over and over again. Something to take note of right now is that TFL are just not going to play ball. They played ball for as long as they had to, for what they realistically had to do, what they were bound to do. We're paying a team now. It's one of those things where they're always going to be like, well, we're not going to help the enemy, and we're definitely not going to be doing work that they should be getting their L1 team to do and stuff like that. Ultimately, we need our own mobile station. The reason why is so we can have our teams update it regularly, do what we need to do, because guess what? Mobile station's probably not going to get updated. It's probably not going to get corrected. And the best point of call for us as a community right now is to create our own. Now, if we roll back, if we go to station, we go to the previously passed votes. I was one of the nodes that actually voted no for this, and it was to fund Rebel Station, to give them another 3 months of infrastructure support to, you know, more or less fund their wallets, okay, their systems, their station that they've created. Okay, I don't even get paid from the blockchain myself. To see these guys get funding on top of the L1 team get funding, it was absolutely crazy. And seeing that certain nodes had even voted yes to this, like all nodes had voted yes to this without really taking a deeper dive look into it. We need our own infrastructure. Currently, this is what Terra Rebels have been banking on. This is what they've been waiting on, is to more or less get us in a corner, get us to a point of where we can't actually afford to create our own infrastructure, cause as much chaos as possible, and then ultimately come forward and say, well, you need to use our Rebel Station. We keep it up to date. It works for everything. They're already getting more and more consumers, customers, however you want to call them, are joining Rebel Station because simply it works and they're keeping it up to date. And this is just absolutely ridiculous because it's a forced hand. The way I see this is, they saw the L1 team is doing everything they should be doing. We're paying funds out, and they're like, well, you know what? You know, we deserve to be paid. We deserve to be paid to keep Rebel Station running, and we deserve to get this money, when ultimately they don't. We were always on this path where, and this will always come down to a thing of respecting what has been voted through and what is currently in play. Instead, these are just greedy people who feel that they have a right, okay, to have their systems funded, to be paid for by the LUNC community, and it's ridiculous. This 305 million LUNC could have got us Mobile Station running. Instead, this went to them, and now we've got to pay out again to create our own mobile station. And it's always going back to these things of where I'm not thinking about tomorrow, I'm not thinking about the day after, I'm thinking about months, years, you know, many years down the line as to where this is going and what we need. It was so saddening to see them get funding for this, because ultimately it makes them feel like, yeah, we should get funding again. And they will ask for funding again. The likelihood is the same OG node operators are going to vote this through with their voting power to get it through as a yes. And, you know, this always worries me as to what actually goes on behind the scenes, because I can't show you my email inbox. I can't show you messages from other people because that's illegal. But what I can tell you is a huge amount of the validators in LUNC will not only just create an Agora and a proposal and put it up, they'll create an email and they'll actually go around attempting to lobby other validators and get them into a sweet spot where they're like, well, we'll do this for you if you can do this for us, kind of thing. And that's not how voting works. You should put your proposal up and allow people to think freely. You shouldn't be going there trying to sway them and trying to get them onto a friendly basis where they feel like they owe, you know, well, he's a good friend of mine, I'm going to vote yes to it either way. And then you're emotionally compromised at that point, and this all comes into play. So going back to the community-owned station wallet extension and mobile app, yes, we need all three. And I'm going to be doing a video, probably it'll be the first video when I come back, and I think this is really important. We have all of the different tabs on station. You've got swap, you've got history, you've got stake, you've got governance, you've got documentation. You know, we do actually have an NFT tab here as well. Why is it we consistently allow people to privatize sectors, i.e. Terraport privatized the swapping sector for LUNC. You know, Rebel Station tried to privatize the wallet section. All of a sudden, boom. The Commonwealth has now been privatized by a group of people that are the bad actors, the ones that consistently, you know, putting up 3-4 proposals at a time saying, you can't ignore me, you know, so childish. Yeah, of course, might seem funny from their perspective, but from where I'm sitting, you just seem like an utter child who has learned to use artificial intelligence. That's kind of what I see, and that's kind of like my own perspective of this. But what I want to see is the deprivatization of things, everything to be run under the governance. So the Commonwealth, the Agora, get rid of them, get a tab on station. We cannot think to ourselves that in a year's time, when crypto really does begin to go mainstream, that the everyday average user, okay, who ultimately are going to be in a generation that weren't born into computers, they're not going to want to create a station, create a Commonwealth, you know, create all of these different accounts. They're going to want it in one place, the mobile application, because guess what? Everybody has mobile phones. Now, what I believe is we're being listened to. We're being listened to very well as a community, and you're starting to see the L1 team, like I've said many times, we'll get through parity and then all of a sudden they'll start to address those small things, starting with the biggest things and the small things, like getting our own mobile station, our own extension app. Just being able to update these ourselves is exactly how it should be. Something that really annoys me with Flare is that currently they don't have a native wallet. You're expected to open a wallet on one of 8 different places. You need to trade, you know, your Flare into another coin to get another coin to be eligible for the airdrops. And it's just like, dude, get it all in one place. Okay. Google don't have 700 different accounts for 700 different apps. You simply just have your Google account that gives you access to anything Google. I mean, God damn, you can even sign in on Twitter with your Google account. You can do that in many other places. That's the aim of the game for LUNC. Do not allow people to privatize our sectors. We must get it all under governance. It must all be voted through. Everything that we do needs to be built by the L1 team, because they're the only people who are not going to go to themselves, well, you know, we're going to create a DEX and we're not going to be giving all of that liquidity because we're really greedy. Instead, we're going to name it, I don't know, Rebel Port or whatever, and we'll privatize that. No, let's get a swapping system that's built by us. We own the modules. All of the liquidity goes through our blockchain, because loads of people are like, yes, let's get Astroport fixed. Let's get Terra swap fixed. Let's build our own. They're taking liquidity from this blockchain. All of that liquidity could be going back into the system. Instead, it goes to Astroport or Terra swap. You get where I'm going with this. The privatization of LUNC and our sectors must stop. The L1 team must get into gear and start to knock out all of these different competitors, because ultimately, if we provide it ourselves, people can compete as much as they want. But if we provide the easiest, most successful route, that is everything in one place, that they just simply need their wallet. You know, what more could you want from the blockchain? Gains. Okay, well, gains will come with all of these cool things that are going to be coming along the line. Folks, like I was saying, I didn't really have the time to do this video. It's just one of those ones where I had so much going through my head. I'm seeing so many different things. The same fudders are coming out. I hope you got something positive from this, and I hope you see this whole situation in a better light. You start to see Rebel Station for the negative kind of privatization that it is. And hopefully, I'm really hoping that our new wallet, our new extension, and our new mobile app pushes us forward to a point of where, guess what? We don't need to ask anyone, or we don't need to sit there and wonder, is TFL going to update us? And, or is Astroport going to update? Is TerraSwap going to update? No, we just need to update it ourselves, create it ourselves. Folks, have a great day. Beware of scammers, beware of doppelgangers, beware of anybody pretending to be me. None of this is financial advice. It's all for educational purposes only. And I'll catch you in the next one.